mentioned, we're quick to pick the West African for even ratios, as opposed to our own traditional way of dressing. Do you think this time it could work in the next 1 year, that we can have an identifiable garment that we can call, this is typically Kenyan? I think it needs a collective effort. I think there are a couple of ways that we can do it. One way is obviously making it mainstream in our schools. I think if we encourage that and the memo is circulated that, you know, as far as school uniforms are concerned, we must ensure that this is there as part of the school uniform, whatever it is. If it's a shirt or a blouse or whatever it is that we decide to adopt, if we mainstream it from a young age and we make that now this is who we are as Kenyans. You know, we remember with the previous president, he would wear the Kenyan bracelet that would with the Kenyan flags that people started to adopt, and that sort of became like our quasi identity. So for me, the first thing is to mainstream it in schools, and then the second thing is anybody who is in a position of influence or power, whether it's politics, whether it's celebrity, whether it's media, whether it's wherever it is. To come together and create this goodwill that if you are going on a foreign trip or you're going to be in front of a camera or you are going to be anywhere in the public domain, then ensure that you have that attire on. Because if all our influencers, and majority of the influencers in this country are politicians, if all our politicians, all our civil and state actors, all our celebrities, all our sportsmen and women, if they then adopt that and that becomes the standard, you know, then we start to see a sense of civic pride starting to be part of who we are. So I think those two things. I mean, there are obviously a few more strategies that we can think through, but I think those two, if we can get that right, then I don't think it will be a question of should we have a national identity. I think the populace will start to adopt this fairly quickly and understand that this is who we are. Whether you like it or not, it's who we are. Our people have bought into it. Our kids are now part of it. It's part of the unwritten, or maybe it might even be a written law for some time. But that's the only way I think we can. And this is the image I was mentioning earlier. You see the way the deputy president is dressed. And for such an occasion, in the presence of the king, the presence of the president, even if the president appears to have dressed down to some level. What is your assessment of this, Ashok? Because even here, I'm sure there are people who are behind how he wears and what he wears.
I think for him, from what I've seen, for him, even behind him, Mr. Musalia Mudavadi there, only the president has people behind what he thinks and what he wants to present as a brand. And for the deputy president, they don't value much on how you should look and how you should look in public and how you should dress up and how you should be intentional how you dress up. I think that's where we are at this point, because I think no one put a lot of thought. And this is basically what every Kenyan man wears. The floral shirt, jeans, and those sneakers. That's basically any Kenyan man. You walk, even you go to a shop, that's the first thing the sales lady will present to you. Oh, I want something casual. Oh, this is what you should wear. This is what guys wear. The only thing is missing there is a windbreaker. And then you have that basically Kenyan man, how he should look like. I think there's less thought put in it. I think it's just what he has, and people who are supposed to advise him. If he has people are supposed to advise him, they're failing him in that. I think the lack of creating a brand and a person who should be, I think for him should be the next president if that's the intention and the goal. I think they should work from there. I think that's what he did when he was vice president. He was working towards president and what kind of president he should be and how he should look as a president. Because you can see even the cuff trousers is something he wore way before he even became vice president. It's his sense of style, and you can see it growing up to now where he is now. He can change a few things, but he has that identity on how he should be, and structured suits and flared cut and fitting suits. That's who he is. You cannot change that. And that's how he's grown to become a president and identifiable.
This was in Mombasa. Yes, a lot can be said about the weather and the heat, but